Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Legal Gym Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got an extra special episode for you today. We're going to be talking about the difference between trademarks and copyrights. And before you say, wait a minute, that does not sound very fun, let me tell you, this is going to be a fun one because what I've done today is we're doing a little quiz. So I'm going to explain to you a little bit about why trademarks and copyrights are important. And then I'm going to tell you what the differences are between trademarks and copyrights. And then I've got a lot of real world examples that I found around my house that I am going to share with you and ask you, what do you think? Is this a trademark or a copyright? So you can actually test your knowledge of trademarks and copyrights and see if you can get it right. So for the show notes for today's episode, which will include all the links and resources for everything that I'm going to be discussing today, make sure you're heading over to hawthornelaw.net/37. That's hawthornelaw.net/37. All right, now let's go ahead and dive in. And before I start, I do want to let you know that this episode was also shown on my YouTube channel. So there might be some places in this episode where you may not be able to see what I'm talking about, but I've tried to do a pretty good job of explaining what I'm showing on screen, so it should translate pretty well over into audio. And I thought this is a really great episode to share with you on the podcast, so let's do it. Hey, Jim Hart back at you here from the Hart Law Firm. Today, I'm going to be explaining to you the differences between trademarks and copyrights. This is going to be a good one. You don't want to miss it. If you're new here, I am a trademark lawyer and an entrepreneur. On this channel, we explore all of the practical and legal tips, tools, and strategies to help you start, build, grow, and of course, legally protect your very own entrepreneurial venture. Today, we're going to be talking about trademarks and copyrights, the differences between the two, and which you should be focusing on in your business, regardless of whether you're just starting out or you've actually been in business for quite a bit of time, and maybe you're just kind of pushing legal off to the side. And I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently today because I've got a whole bunch of examples here of different copyrights and trademarks that I want to share with you. We're not going to really do it as a quiz, but I think it's important when explaining these complex legal theories to really show you what we're talking about, because real world examples are the way that I really learned how to distinguish between copyrights and trademarks. And I'm hoping that it's going to help you understand the differences as well. But before we get to that, I think it's important for you to understand why these issues are so very important for your business. I can only assume that legally protecting your business is something that is very important to you. But honestly, this stuff is confusing, and I can say that with absolute certainty because I remember back 20 years ago when I was in law school and trying to learn these different concepts, and it was like over my head. I did not get it. It took me a while to understand. So I can only imagine if you were just starting in business and hearing these terms, copyrights, trademarks, what does this all mean? It must be incredibly confusing to you too. And the consequences of not taking legal seriously, either because you're confused by what these things mean, or you're trying to do it yourself and you're really getting stuck and you're facing a lot of hurdles and not sure what you're doing, or you're just thinking, oh, this is one of those things that I don't need to worry about right now, I'll focus on this later, then sooner or later, something bad stuff is actually going to happen in your business. And it's true. I've seen this lots and lots of cases of where people have not taken these things seriously and they come to me after the fact, and it's unfortunately not something I can fix for them. So I don't want that to happen to you. In case you're wondering, what kind of bad stuff could possibly happen? Well, let me explain to you. Here's just a couple of things that could happen. You could lose the rights to your brand name. Imagine trying to build up a brand online or in your community or wherever you might be, and then one day receiving a cease and desist letter and being told you can't use that brand anymore, or finding out that somebody filed a trademark application before you at the USPTO and you realize you can't use that name anymore. Those are real life things that can actually happen. On the flip side, your brand could become diluted. And what does that mean? That means that you've never taken your intellectual property seriously, and as a result, other people have started using your brand name in the marketplace to such an extent that now it's kind of diluted. Nobody can get protection from that name. And I'll give a good example. I don't know who the first person was that came up with an accelerator coaching group, but now if you look out in the marketplace, there's like 25 accelerator coaching groups. I'm exaggerating. I don't actually know how many accelerated coaching groups there are, but there's a lot of them. And I actually used to be in one, and I think I actually used to be in another one as well. And the point here is that if whoever the first person was that used the term accelerator for their coaching group, if they had taken the time to trademark that term and to actually register that name and protect that brand, then they could be licensing that term to all these other groups that are trying to use it for their coaching programs and making a lot of money off that. Alternatively, they would be the only one that's using that term and nobody else in the marketplace would be able to do that. So if you do not take your intellectual property rights seriously, then those type of things can happen. And along those lines, I mean, your content could be stolen. I mean, this has happened to me. I've had blog posts stolen where I've had to shut down other websites that were using my content and videos and things of that sort. And so that's a real thing. Your content could be stolen if you don't take your intellectual property seriously. And we don't want that to happen. And probably the very worst thing that could happen if you're not taking these things seriously is you could receive a cease and desist letter, as I alluded to just a minute or two ago. And you could be forced to shut down your brand or your business, potentially even force yourself into bankruptcy if, let's say you had a lot of inventory that was branded one way and you're unable to rebrand it, and the other company that owns the trademark that you're using tells you that you can't sell out that inventory. Now, hopefully they would, but there's no guarantee in this world, and there's certainly no guarantee that they're going to let you do that, at least without giving them a certain percentage of the profits. And so I've seen this happen. I've seen actual examples of this, and this could force somebody who, maybe used a line of credit or a second mortgage, God forbid, to pay for this inventory to actually declare bankruptcy, and that is not a good thing. So yeah, this stuff is important, and what I want to do today is I've got a bunch of different examples here, like I said, of different types of intellectual property that I want to share with you, and we're going to kind of play guess that game, trademark or copyright. But before we do that, I'll give you a quick overview of what a trademark is and what a copyright is. Now, a trademark is a word, phrase, logo, slogan, something like that is used to identify the source of your goods or services in the marketplace. That's basically the legal definition of a trademark versus a copyright, which, actually I didn't even look up the definition of copyright. I know what it is, but I probably should look that up. Hold on a sec. I hope this doesn't give away too much about what I'm going to be telling you at the end of the video, but I don't do a whole lot with copyrights. And a copyright is the exclusive and assignable legal right given to the originator for a fixed number of years to print, publish, perform film, or record literary, artistic, or musical material. So there you go. That's a copyright. Let's get into, those are the differences. Let's get into,
before we get into the
kind of a little game show here today, shall we? This is going to be fun.
I want to let you know about a new training that I'm working on. I'm going to be teaching my 4R framework to get your trademarks registered quickly and easily. In addition, I'll be sharing the top 3 mistakes that I see online entrepreneurs make that can sabotage their brand and even force them into bankruptcy. So if you want to sleep better at night knowing that your brand is protected, you definitely don't want to miss this training. Just head on over to hawthornelaw.net/trademark to get notified when the training is live. One more time, that's hawthornelaw.net/trademark. And don't forget, everyone who attends this training is going to get a free gift. So if you're an entrepreneur who is building a brand online, this is one training you don't want to miss. One more time, head on over to hawthornelaw.net/trademark to get signed up for the notification list today.
My new Portuguese coffee mug. I love this one. I think this might be like my brand new favorite. I use it a lot. It even says Portugal on the side. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. Cheers. All right. Let's start with this. the store that my wife misses more than anything else from the United States now that we live in Portugal. But I'm sure anyone who's in the United States is going to recognize. And I'm going to just put it up real fast because I don't want to get flagged for any copyright violations here. But here we go. What is that? People probably recognize that. Is it the source of Target, the big department store in the United States, one of my wife's favorite stores. And so if you walk out of a Target store, you're probably going to have one of those bags. So is that a trademark or a copyright?
Give you a couple seconds to decide. Okay, that is a trademark, and that is because it is identifying the source of goods or services. The service being a department store that sells home goods and candy and clothing and all sorts of fun stuff. Toys. So that's identifying people. If you're carrying that around, somebody knows, oh, you got that stuff at Target. Now, mind you, we're still using the bag here in Portugal for trash or dog poop or whatever. I don't know. But that's a trademark. Okay, next one. Let's see. What do we got here? We've got a magazine from National Geographic, and there's all sorts of articles in here. Okay. What is this? Trademark or copyright? All right, this one is a bit tricky because on the one hand, all of the articles in here and the images and everything that's in this magazine is copyrighted. I presume that National Geographic, since they put out a magazine once a month, probably registers the copyright for all their content. I'm assuming that to be the case. I have not checked. But it is also a trademark because if you go inside on page 1, you'll see right there, that is their logo, and that is a registered logo for National Geographic. Let's see, they don't actually have the R and the circle around it to delineate that that is a registered trademark. But that, my friends, is a registered trademark. So you got a trademark and a copyright there. Trick question. Did anyone get that? I don't know if you did, but pretty cool. Okay, let's do this one. I have not pulled this out yet. This was in a box, but I have not pulled it out in a while because I used to use this for webinars, and I haven't done any webinars in a while. I need to do them. But this right here is my Yeti microphone, trademark or copyright. That's a trademark. That was a pretty easy one. Okay. All right, here we go. We'll go with this one. My wife's bag that she uses to carry stuff around town or when we go on day trips, things like that, is obviously from LL Bean, trademark or copyright. Sorry there, folks, battery died, but yes, my wife's backpack, that right there is a trademark. And they actually do have the R with the circle around it sewn into the logo there. I've got another one here for you. It's a book, the first Harry Potter book, which my kids are reading right now. Their cousins just finished reading the whole series and went to Harry Potter World in Florida. So what is this? Is this a trademark or is that a copyright? Okay, another bit of a trick question. This is a copyright. This book is copyrighted material, I'm sure, and it probably says in the very front, as most books do. Text copyright, illustrations copyright. So you got the illustrations and the text both copyrighted. Here's the other thing. Harry Potter itself is also a trademark. And I know that gets people somewhat confused because they're like, wait a minute, I didn't think you could trademark book titles. You can't trademark book titles unless the title of the book is a series where the title doesn't not actually have anything to do with the content of the book. It's just a brand that identifies a series of books that are out there. So yes, you could trademark a book title. There are a bunch of trademarks associated with Harry Potter. You can imagine all the products and services that they offer, from the amusement parks to, the costumes that people can buy to little pretend wands and all that type of thing. So yes, Harry Potter, huge brand, copyrighted and trademarked. We'll go through a few more of these. This I thought was interesting, and I'm curious to see what you think about it. But this is a controller for my son's Nintendo Switch. So what do you think? Trademark or copyright? I'm going to go ahead and tell you, number one, it's a trademark because there is on here a little symbol that says the company that manufactured this. Now, I suspect, although I don't know, but this would be a really good example of what is called trade dress. And I am guessing that this controller, the design of the controller, is actually trade dress, meaning that it is a design that is registered with the trademark office. So Nintendo could actually register the trademark for the design of their controllers. They could do that. And if you remember back in the day, the old rectangular Nintendo controllers, those are probably trade dress also. I suspect, and this is one of the huge benefits of having a trademarkable brand, that you can actually license the trade dress to other companies so that they could remanufacture these and sell them on their own, but they have to pay a licensing fee probably to Nintendo to do that. Now, I suspect that this is likely licensed from Nintendo, and if I kept to the packaging with it, there'd probably be something in there that would talk about that. Let's go a few more. I'll go pretty fast here. This is an extra hard drive that I brought with me when my hard drive runs out of space from LaCie. LaCie Rugged, pretty popular with the bloggers. Trademark or copyright? Yes, that is a trademark. And then I have a couple, any good YouTuber is going to have these, right? I've got some tripods. This one is a switch pod from Pat Flynn's company. Love Pat. So shout out to him if you don't have a switch pod. These are pretty cool. So, and I actually have the mount that goes on top of it as well, except it's being used for the camera right now, so I can't show it to you. This is a switch pod. That is a brand. I am confident that Pat has protected his intellectual property. And this is, this I've had for a while, but this is a Manfrotto, also trademark copyright. This is a trademark for Manfrotto, the brand that produces these. These are great tripods also. Okay, what else do I got? Kind of getting a little redundant here. Rode microphones, trademark or copyright? Obviously, trademark. Here's my wallet. And if you'll see right there, it's got a little symbol. I don't know what the company is, but that symbol is a little logo, and I presume that is a trademark for the company that manufactures the wallet. So there you go. Just move through these. Okay, this one is probably the biggest trick question of them all, but I'm gonna show it to you and see. This is a photo album, and this is, my wife loves to print off all our pictures and put them in photo albums. God bless her. It's a huge undertaking, and but the kids love them. They love going through all the photo albums. They take up a ton of space. We put them on bookshelves, and the kids love going through them. So like, she's got December 2021 and miscellaneous. I don't know what that means, but then she fills it up with all these things that we've done as a family, and then she writes little notes next to everything. Yeah, what about the pictures in here? Trademark or copyright? That was loud, sorry. This is interesting because that, we own the copyright to the pictures in there. The book itself is a Hallmark book, and so there's actually going to be a trademark inside. But the pictures themselves are copyrighted, and we own the copyright. And this is an important distinction. For a trademark, you own common law rights to a trademark the minute you start using it in commerce. With a copyright, you also own the legal rights to a copyright without registering it with the Copyright Office. The benefit, now this has not actually been, these images have not actually been published. We printed them, they're in our private house, they're in our private photo albums. So copyright rights do not actually attach until we publish it to the general public. Hey, I'm editing the video for today, and I realized I made a mistake. I said in the video that copyright rights do not attach until you've actually published the video or published the work, and I'm talking about the photos that we've taken. That is actually incorrect. I was just reading about this. Basically, copyright rights arise when you have created a work in fixed form. In other words, so by taking the picture or by printing those photos off, those are now in fixed form, and so copyright rights attach on a common law level. So just an important distinction there. You do not have to publish the work to receive copyright protection. By putting them into a fixed form, like a blog post or something like that, then the copyright rights arise at that point. Thanks. Donna, can you shut the dog up? Now, if we wanted to do that and we wanted to create a book of our image of our photos and publish that, then that would be something that we could register with the Copyright Office. And the benefit to doing that is if anyone tried to steal those images, then we would be able to sue them in federal court. You cannot sue somebody in federal court for a copyright violation if you do not have a registered copyright. So that's the main benefit of the copyrights. The trademarks, on the other hand, you do have those common law rights, but you really don't have the rights to your trademark until you have actually registered your trademark with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And that's when you really get the bulk of the rights that go along with that. So all that being said, should you file for trademarks or should you file for copyrights. We've seen examples of both here today. If you are interested in learning more about how to legally claim the rights to your brand, then you're going to want to schedule a free branding strategy call with me. That's right. For a limited time, I'm offering a free strategy call to talk with me about the branding for your online business and how to make sure it is legally protected. So if you'd like to learn more, head on over to hawthornelaw.net/tm-video. Once again, that's hawthornelaw.net/tm-video. On that landing page, we have lots of great information about the process of protecting your brand so that you don't have to worry about getting a cease and desist letter or being forced to rebrand your business at a great expense. Once again, that website is hawthornelaw.net/tm-video, and I look forward to talking with you soon. What I would tell you is the most important thing you need to do if you're just getting started in business, or if you've been in business for a while and you've not been paying attention to these things, is you want to register your trademarks first. That's the most important thing you want to do. It takes about a year, if everything goes smoothly and no hiccups along the way, to get your trademarks registered. The copyrights, you can just file those applications kind of as needed. If you have a really good converting sales letter, or maybe you have a sales page on your website that does a really nice job converting leads, you might want to copyright those. If you have a lead magnet or a book that you've published, you definitely want to make sure you've copyrighted those or registered the copyrights to those, I should say. Do you need to register all your blogs? Probably not. So that's what I got for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed this little, kind of interactive tutorial. Hopefully that worked well for you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode, where we'll talk more about trademarks, copyrights, something related to that.
All right, all you Legal Gym listeners, now that you know more about trademarks and copyrights, how'd you do on the quiz? I'm curious to know. Feel free to send me a message. Let me know how you did. You can just send me a DM to @HawthorneLaw, and that's on Instagram. You can send me a DM there, and I would love to hear how you did on the quiz today. So now you are ready to implement, because if there's one thing that we love to do over here at the Legal Gym, it's to take massive action. So if you haven't already, make sure you check out the show notes page for today's episode. You can get a rundown of all the links and resources that we talked about here today by visiting hawthornelaw.net/37. That's the number 37. That's going to be the home base for all of your legal and business tools and resources to help you start, build, and protect your online business. So thank you so much for listening today. I look forward to seeing you in the next, well, not really seeing you, but talking with you in the next episode. Take care. Have a good weekend.